Pro football today on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi with you as we take another step towards kickoff. Eagles, Cowboys.
Ooh.
We'll get there soon enough, but we had quite a bit in the opening week of the preseason to dive into, Joe.
We did. An awful rookie quarterback stepped up, led by Shedeur Sanders, right? 14 of 23, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns en route to the 30-10 blowout win on the road. He stepped up, he made plays, and that's now all of a sudden the hype surrounding Cleveland. Who's going to be the week 1 starter against Cincinnati?
You know, and we're going to get right into that momentarily, but that's not the only quarterback questions that exist out there. The Indianapolis situation didn't get any clearer with Anthony Richardson leaving that game quite early. The Stafford, every time they try and tell you, it's okay, nothing to see here. Not how I feel. Arizona Joey's loving what he's seeing out in Hollywood. We're going to get into all of that. Burrow, Fields. We saw some big preseason moments. Tanner McKee, can't forget that. So we're going to get into it all right here. But Joe hits the nail on the head. Nothing more important than the Shedeur Sanders Cleveland Browns game this past Friday against the Carolina Panthers. The Browns enter that game just under a touchdown underdog. And Sanders steps up in a big way. Multiple touchdown passes, throws for 138 yards, plays through the first 3 quarters of that. And some might try and say, well, come on, it's preseason. How much of it was starters? How much of it was second string, third string? The reality is Shedeur Sanders entered into this game, we know, Joe, 4th on the Cleveland Browns depth chart. It feels to me that if somebody pressed Cleveland for an updated depth chart, there's no way Shedeur Sanders should still be 4.
No, absolutely not. And I was one in the camp that thought Shedeur Sanders was a first-round selection, but he showed and displayed the poise, knowing where he wanted to go in terms of the passing tree, leading his team on 2 touchdown drives, throwing and making the proper decisions, and that's what you want to see. The moment wasn't too big. And if you want to make the argument that it was a preseason game, look at Quinn Ewers for the Miami Dolphins with 2 fumbles, 91 yards, and that train wreck that we saw play out in Chicago. I mean, Shedeur Sanders stepped up and lived up to expectations.
I think, and listen, the Ewers point is a good one. It's not as if, though, the Browns sent out all of this talent around Shedeur Sanders. There was no Jerry Jeudy. Dylan Sampson ran the ball twice. We still don't really know if Quinshon Judkins is going to be on this football team to start the year. So, again, it's not David Njoku didn't play. I think the one thing that really resonated with me watching this football game, and it's undeniable, Shedeur Sanders is a star. Now, sometimes star, we take it to mean the level of play, right? And I'm not trying to say that Shedeur Sanders is a top 5, 6 quarterback. I'm not saying anything crazy like that. I'm talking about star power, get people to the stadium type of thing, selling out jerseys. Sanders has that right now, and I don't think that's nothing for this Cleveland football team. The reality is he's not the only rookie they drafted. There aren't Dylan Gabriel jerseys flooding the stands. I don't know if anybody in Cleveland owns a Kenny Pickett jersey. And I think if you are the Browns, there is something to that. They had it for a moment in Baker Mayfield. They squandered that. There's no other way to put it. Baker's found success now in Tampa Bay, and I don't think that's one of those things where, like Sam Darnold not working out in the Jets and the Jets moving on, you had to move on. The Browns, I don't know if they had to move on from Baker Mayfield. They messed that all up. When you get someone at the quarterback position with legitimate star power in the building, I don't think that should be hand-waved. And I think the Browns, unless Joe Flacco shocks us all, and this is a team that starts the year 6-3, which I don't think is happening at all, at some point the Browns have to make sure Shedeur Sanders is getting a handful of starts, I think, this NFL season.
I think they should be battling it out. And to your point about star power, it's almost like a Heisman Trophy winner, what he comes with. He comes with the fanfare. He comes with the hype, the ability to put fans in the seats. That's what Shedeur Sanders brings. Love him or hate him, you're going to be talking about Shedeur Sanders and his performance each and every week. And when you talk about Cleveland, big picture, they want to challenge the likes of Baltimore and Cincinnati and Pittsburgh in the division, but they're not going anywhere right now. They have a 5.5 win total, and they have the ability to start either Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders. I don't think Dylan Gabriel's in the mix. I think it's both of those quarterbacks. Which one elevates your program? And if they could do that, and let's say they don't step up, you could still rely on Joe Flacco, the veteran that led you to a playoff appearance just a couple of seasons ago.
I think the tricky thing for Cleveland is they know they have too many guys in the room. You're going to have to move on from someone. And I think the front runner for that is Kenny Pickett. They just eat the loss on the minimal draft capital they sent to Philadelphia to get Kenny Pickett in their building. I wonder if Shedeur Sanders is available for trade, though. I still think the Browns is actually not a good landing spot for Sanders. Now, you could argue the other way. You could argue it's the cleanest path for Sanders getting on the field right away and actually winning a job. My thing is, this is really the only spot he was going to end up, not only fourth on a depth chart, behind another rookie quarterback, right? Kevin Stefanski, I feel, is going to now move a little bit quicker in announcing Flacco's won the job because he doesn't want to leave this open. I think it is real, Joe. They don't want Sanders starting week number 1. And I think that's fine, by the way. I don't think Sanders needs to start the Cincy, Baltimore, Green Bay, Detroit stretch of games. I don't. Do you think it is crazy to wonder if Shedeur Sanders could be traded to the Rams, the Colts, or a team like that in this offseason?
I mean, it's possible because of the hype and the performance that we saw in the preseason game. I mean, we're talking about a quarterback that stepped up, threw for over 100 yards, had all of the pressure on him, and he stepped up and lived up to expectations. So if we're looking the Browns, the Colts, and other organizations, does he go to a team like the Jets? Now, I know Justin Fields. I'm high on Justin Fields, but that's another area where potentially he could back up and develop into a starting quarterback in a couple of years. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. We're going to see injuries happen to teams down the stretch, especially in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. He could possibly be on the move, but if I was the Browns and I took him in the 5th round, I would keep him. I still believe you give a shot to a young quarterback, and I'm not ruling out Kenny Pickett either, whether he's on the roster or not. Kenny Pickett's only played one full season. I mean, one team basically. In the Pittsburgh Steelers.
My only pushback, though, is, Joe, if we're the Browns and we're in the business now of giving guys a try, I'm giving my 2 rookies a try more so than Pickett. Can I just ask you this? We've seen some off-field connections people talk about, people who run the Browns and the Manning family. Mm-hmm. And we heard that Arch is very likely going to go back. Arch Manning of Texas, the Heisman Trophy favorite, Texas favorite to win the national championship. I've started to wonder now if that's so real and Arch holds true and is in Texas for another 2 seasons, are the Browns just going to pass on quarterback entirely next year? If so, that could be good for Shedeur. If he gets a season plus to be the guy here in Cleveland, that could be really beneficial.
It can, and let's see what happens with New Orleans. I mean, Tyler Shough stepped up and made some plays this past weekend, but they might be in the running with the Cleveland Browns for a quarterback. Is it going to be Arch? Is it going to be Garrett Nussmeier? His father's on there. But if Shedeur is on the roster this season and he develops and gets playing time, and now Arch stays in school for year number 3, that's a possibility where Shedeur could be a star in the making. Look at the younger quarterbacks that have developed over multiple organizations. Darnold's included in that mix as well.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to watch this all play out. The Cleveland job is one that we're drawn to from the star power perspective. You could argue the Colts is more important, though, because they're supposed to have some expectations in Indianapolis. We'll talk about their start to preseason next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Pages. Let's get lucky.
Pro Football Today back with you on SportsGrid. And the Browns quarterback competition is fascinating because who's third, who's fourth matters, right? In a way, I still kind of expect it to be Flacco. We'll see. But the Browns don't come with a lot of expectations of winning. I don't know if you'll find anybody who picks Cleveland to win the AFC North. The Colts are a little different. If somebody is in on Indianapolis, I get it. I might fit that description depending on how the quarterback battle goes. I actually don't know if I could recall a quarterback battle that is either it's one of my guys in Anthony Richardson, or I will bet against the Colts every game Daniel Jones is under center, as much you cannot be my guy. The thing is, at some point I got to be honest, they are trying to have Anthony Richardson win this job. And I think Anthony Richardson is still stuck to the turf in Baltimore after the hit he took on the sack that ended up with a dislocated finger. Now, he wanted to go back in the game. I think Richardson could very well end up playing in their next preseason game, but it cleared the way for Daniel Jones to play a lot. And availability is a big concern when we think about Anthony Richardson. So through one preseason game, call it like I see it, advantage Jones.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think that Daniel Jones gives the Colts the best opportunity to make a while. No, I'm serious.
No, come on.
Here's the thing. They have a dominant rushing attack with Jonathan Taylor. They have playmakers like Pittman, A.D. Mitchell. You got to find somebody to get them the football. And I'm not saying I love Daniel Jones. Right. I do not love Daniel Jones in any capacity. Okay. I'm just suggesting that Daniel Jones is a better pocket passer and can get the football to the wideouts more consistent than Anthony Richardson that completed 47% of his passes. And I love AR from the athletic standpoint, but he's not Justin Fields. Richardson's
a better athlete than Justin Fields.
He's a better athlete, but Justin Fields is a much better passer. He is. I'm sorry. Again, much better, in my opinion.
The thing with Richardson is the completion percentage is crazy because most of the time he's just throwing it all the way down the field. Let me see if I can meet you in the middle on Richardson. I think it is possible that Daniel Jones is the better quarterback.
Okay.
Richardson is the only quarterback that could get them to the playoffs, win a division. Because Daniel Jones is just flatly, I know Daniel Jones isn't good enough. Anthony Richardson truly could be one of the worst first-round quarterbacks we've seen, or a guy who still doesn't have 17 starts under his belt 2 years into the NFL and barely had a full season of college football under his belt, hits the ground running with a good offensive line, with good weapons, with good coaching. I think the ceiling is so much bigger with Anthony Richardson.
It's always been. That's never been a concern.
I don't think Daniel Jones has any ceiling.
Okay.
He's bad. We know he's bad.
He is, but he plateaus above average, let's just say slightly.
No, he doesn't.
He's going to complete at least 55% of his passes.
That's not above average.
That's better than Richardson.
Understand that.
And that's all we're looking for.
No, that's not all I'm looking for, to be honest with you.
The Colts are looking for that.
No, if I was Indianapolis.
We're going to argue now.
That's fine. I'm not looking for, just complete 62% of your passes. I want a star. Everybody wants a franchise quarterback. Do you think Daniel Jones could be there? Okay.
No, but we're talking about 2025, right? We're talking about a coach and a team that has the legitimate playmakers to potentially be a 9 or a 10-win football team. They could run the football. They could play sound defense at times, ball control, and grind games out, right? When you have a quarterback that throws for 47%, 9 of 20, that you're not going to do that. And I understand you look at Daniel Jones, 10 of 21, but it was still $144. He could get the football to Pittman and A.D. Mitchell and a wide receiver. I feel like we're looking at Drew Aller in the mobile quarterback.
But if the selling point of Indianapolis is the running game, that is a huge advantage AR.
It is.
He's one of the most
healthy.
Correct. Now, here's the other problem. Richardson can win this job, and then in 2 weeks, Daniel Jones has to start anyway because Richardson is injured again, which is a disaster. But for me, Richardson has so much more upside.
He does.
He has more downside.
Yes.
But I just don't think this Colts season, if they go 7-10, it doesn't matter.
No, they're
all done anyway.
They're moving on from everybody. Coach, right?
Yeah.
Quarterbacks, get them all out of Dodge. You have to take the good, the bad, and the ugly with AR. I understand that. The great is when he goes on the road against the Jets as a 4.5-point road dog and wins the game outright. 2 touchdowns on the ground, 272 yards. Could we channel that every week? Give me that every week, and we have a legitimate starter. The problem is that you go from 272 1 week to all of a sudden completing 30% of your passes the next week, can't make a 10-yard out, and you're going 25% on third down conversions.
Yeah.
That is the downside. So I'm suggesting right now, Daniel Jones, if he was the starter week 1, he can at least guide you to 9 wins where I know I could open up the playbook enough if I'm Steichen and say, you know what, we can make a pass downfield and I don't have to worry. Then if we complete some, I could open up the rushing attack with Jonathan Taylor and actually win some games.
Again, the problem, though, ends up when you all of a sudden go, oh, no, Daniel Jones is still my quarterback. This guy's breakouts, whoa! Let's pay this guy. He threw 15 touchdown passes.
I know.
All Daniel Jones did that year was beat up on an awful, awful Vikings team that everybody knew was fraudulent.
Yes.
And not throw interceptions at an ungodly rate. And then followed it up with being injured and then being bad. There's no reason to believe that Daniel Jones can be a guy. There's no reason to believe that.
If he's the week 1 starter, and think about this, Darnold has an under and over of 20 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
You would say Daniel Jones is probably, 16 and a half? I mean,
lower.
I'm just saying. But you know what? If he got the thing is, if I'm the organization, can you give me 190 passing yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and we know he's a human turnover machine. I get that, but he's still more consistent than they are.
But then why did they draft Richardson?
Because they thought, again, these gurus think I could get the most out of him.
But how are they
54% in college?
But how are they done already? Is then my problem. How are you? He didn't play his rookie season. He played 4. He appeared in 4 games. He didn't play 4 games. He leaves injured in half of them. He has 15 games he's appeared in. Oh, you know what? We're done. Let Riley Leonard get a chance then at that point. We'll talk about some real good quarterback play next.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You know, out of 30 teams, Gabe, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this. In which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid, your road to kickoff.
A lot of good stuff from the preseason week. We'll talk about some of those standout rookie performances. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase put on a little bit of a show. Wasn't enough for Tanner McKee and the Eagles. Fields, Kyler, we'll get to all that. But the biggest practice story going on in football right now is Matthew Stafford. And I don't know if Sean McVay is getting bad information. I don't know if he is trying to publicly push Stafford a certain direction and it's not working. But what I do know is if Sean McVay tells everyone Stafford will be back at practice on Monday, and then Stafford is not back at practice on Monday and instead is in a cryo chamber that Lisi's been trying to find a link for the whole show, then that means something went wrong. That means something went wrong. Where are you at? I don't know if I've level checked with you. Concern level on Matthew Stafford.
Very. Oh. And this was the concern, though, can I just say, a couple of years ago when he had the arm issue.
Yeah.
And they tacked a 5.5 win total on L.A., and everybody said, you know what?
Yeah.
Stafford's done, and guess what? I bought them at that time. They go and win 10 games.
Yep.
They double it up last year and win the West 10-7 overall. Now everybody's on Matt Stafford and the L.A. Rams, right? The only problem is he's 2 years older. He's got a neck injury, and that's an issue for me back in this team long term. I would not back Matt Stafford in terms of the props market.
Yep.
I wouldn't back the LA Rams to win or go to an NFC championship or a wild card. That's me. I'm not willing to bank on him being 100% healthy when we saw Daniel Jones with a neck injury and he never made it through a regular season. And it took him multiple years. And I understand it could be different. But when we're talking about a neck for a starting quarterback and a disc issue, that is a huge cause of concern for me. I mean, how can you back that? You don't know what you're going to get.
I don't mean to laugh. Look, part of it is because of just you, like with the. I don't know if you've ever related to a football player more in your life with the neck, the back. You know what I mean? Here's where I'm at on Stafford.
But let me ask you this: if it was Garoppolo, drop off in production, you feel confident, Jimmy?
No,
I don't.
It's real simple.
Stetson Bennett, hello.
If you all of a sudden end up with Jimmy G, they could be a bye over the win total, make the playoffs, but it'll be the same fate where when it was, and I know Goff did make a Super Bowl, and I know Jimmy Garoppolo's made a Super Bowl, but it'll come down to it where you go, they're not going to win the Super Bowl. Ultimately, Jimmy G in this situation is not going to win this team a Super Bowl. That'll be how we feel.
They'd be plateaued. They capped out.
But again, so the win total right 9.5. If it went to 7.5, you'd like over. I think. I think I'd be able to get there.
Maybe because of the defense and the rushing attack with Kyron Williams. They still have Puka and the addition of Devontae Adams. You would hope that Jimmy G could lead them to at least 8 wins. You would hope.
Right. I think there would be some interesting buy. Again, it's the big picture stuff that crumbles. Here's my thing. I feel as if Matt Stafford never playing another NFL game is on the board. That's how I feel. Matthew Stafford has kept an eye towards the, exit door for a couple of years now as he gets a little bit older. Again, Tom Brady kind of, I think, ruined the math on some of this stuff. They're like, Stafford, what's he got, 5 more years left? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Rodgers maybe should have retired, 4 years ago, whenever, I know he was winning MVPs, but somewhere in that window. We were able to talk to Doc on Game Time last week, and he basically, what I was able to gather from Doc, there's no telling that this goes away.
No, it's a lingering issue.
It's like, he plays week 1, he looks great, cool. Yeah. Week 4, bad hit, done for the season.
Right.
So I agree with you. It's a sell, and I wish we could get alts a little bit juicier, but like his season-long player props, I'm surprised some books are still hanging this thing.
Well, they are because, again, he's not ruled out. The concern is he goes for some epidurals, you relieve some of the pressure, the disc alleviates, and there's the pain, it subsides. But to your point, he could get hit one way and then all of a sudden out for the year. And again, they're willing to hang it to a certain level. I just play it the other way. I was high on Arizona. They went from plus 420 to win the West. Then we immediately went down to 370.
Yeah.
So I'm now back more in on Arizona than I ever was before because of the possible injury to Stafford.
I think you're really on it, too, though, in that so I know you're in on the Cardinals. If anybody's in on the Niners, I think those numbers are going to shift big time because they're so close in the pricing with the Rams. So I think that's another element to – this has a ripple effect, I think is the best way to put it. Let's talk about some of these other rookies. Cam Ward, Trevion Henderson, Travis Hunter, all of that next with you here on Pro Football Today.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
At a 30 teams game, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this. In which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid, your road to kickoff.
Pro Football Today on SportsGrid. Kevin Walsh and Joe Lisi, and Shedeur Sanders stole the show, really, in the opening week of preseason action. But we had some other rookie quarterbacks out there, starting with a Jackson Dart delight with a really nice touchdown pass, threw for over 150 yards. Cam Ward didn't play as much, but 8.4 yards per pass attempt and on a 5-for-8, 67-yard day. And then we had a lot of work from Tyler Shuck out of New Orleans, who went 15 for 22, 165 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Of that trio, Joe, which performance stood out to you the most?
It was Dart. And we talk about Dart having the ability to be a starting quarterback and where Brian Daboll and the Giants took him, and to see that performance. Now, we know that Jackson Dart has those type of performances from his days at Ole Miss. But he did struggle on the road in critical spots. But to see 156 yards through the air, the one big touchdown to Lil Jordan Humphrey, who potentially could be a big game starter. I don't know. I love Lil Jordan, but a great performer at Texas. And then see the performance on the ground. 3 rushes, 24 yards, the RPO game. You say, okay, why not give Jackson Dart the week 1 job and let him develop? The problem is that he's on the Giants. They have 2 veteran quarterbacks, and Brian Dable's job is against the wall and back is against the wall, so they have to turn to Russell Wilson. But if you could channel that over a 17-game season, take the good, the bad, and the ugly and get them ready for year number 2, Jackson Dart potentially could be a star in the making. But I still have concerns. I want to see it in regular season action, but that was a dominant performance.
Dart definitely flashed. I'm getting more and more interested in this Giants team. We talked about it last week a little.
They're sucking you in. They're sucking you in. Abdul Carter, I see it. I read it.
And I think Russ is the right starter. I do. Here's why. If they're going to surprise a little bit, I think it would be with a veteran. You look at the early portions of that schedule, it almost looks like a joke. I mean, it looks like a misprint. Have you seen this thing? At Washington, at Dallas, home against the Chiefs, home against the Chargers, at New Orleans, all right. Home against the Eagles, at Denver, at the Eagles. Home against the Niners, at the Bears. Home against the Packers, at the Lions. By the way, they don't have a bye week till week 14. I mean, it is remarkable the way that this schedule starts there. But I thought Dart gave Giants fans a lot to be excited about. And to me, I still maintain, once they drafted Dart, Brian Dable's job should not be on the line this year.
Oh, come on.
No. Don't stop doing this, Joe. Stop drafting quarterbacks in round 1 and then firing their guy after a year. It's the Caleb stuff. You said Eberflus should have been gone.
Yes.
They didn't fire him, right? And that was a huge mistake. Now, Eberflus was a defensive guy. You had no choice but to make that move. Brian Dable should have at least 2 more years on the job with the Giants.
I disagree. And again, because he got the most out of Daniel Jones in year number 1, they overexceeded expectations. They get the road win over Minnesota. He made that decision with Joe Shine to keep Daniel Jones. That's on Dable. That's on nobody else. If he didn't think that Daniel Jones was the face of the franchise, they shouldn't have given him the extra $40 million a year, moved on from him, and gotten somebody that could be the face of the program and the organization. They chose to ride with Daniel Jones. That's on Dable and nobody else.
Listen, there's a lot of blame that can go around. All I'm saying is, if you give this group the chance to draft a round 1 quarterback, I'm not firing them after 1 year.
But they have done a pretty good job in the draft. I said it. Tyrone Tracy. You look at Malik Neighbors, Theo Johnson. They have, from an offensive perspective, dominant. And now with Abdul Carter leading the defense and Thibodeau, they can potentially be that dominant team.
Mm-hmm.
If they so let me play devil's advocate. If they go 5-12, are you saying Dable should keep his job next year? Wow.
I'm telling you, no.
It's New York. It's New York. Go big or go home. We keep talking about this.
But again, my stance on this will not change no matter what, because they gave this group the chance to draft a quarterback in round number 1. And that's how it's going to be. Now, a quarterback that was not taken in round number 1, but not long after, was Tyler Shuck. And here is my takeaway. The New Orleans Saints executed one of the biggest waste of a draft picks you will ever see in your life, with taking Tyler Shuck at 40th overall. It is unimaginable what this team did. You want a fun little piece of bar trivia? September 28th is not only Tyler Shuck's birthday, it's also Spencer Rattler's. Only one difference. Rattler, a full year younger. Anthony Richardson, whole world's ready to give up, was born in 2002. Tyler Shuck, 1999. 3 years older is the rookie. The Saints are supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league. But that is why, since their quarterback situation was a nightmare and Derek Carr was going to retire, they drafted a veteran rookie in Tyler Shuck. And they were desperate for him to win the starting job, and he is getting soundly beat by Spencer Rattler in camp, which is why Rattler started this preseason game and is over minus 200 now to start week 1. So congratulations for being on the clock at pick 40 and drafting a guy who would be lucky to be on this roster 2 years from now.
I never thought he was a second-round draft pick at all. I mean, but here we go with the hype. We keep talking about these guys that get hyped up by GMs and scouts.
Crazy.
Will Levis, Malik Willis. Oh, top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback. I watched Tyler Shough at Oregon, at Texas Tech, at Louisville. Yes, he had some big performances, but he's also in a big spot, a turnover machine when it counted, when the game was on the line and it really mattered. Now, I don't have a problem with Tyler Shough's age because, again, 26, 27, he's not Chris Wenke coming out of college at 30. So if you sign him to a 5, a 6, a 7, 8-year deal, the guy's 38 years old. We still have Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we make a big deal. The guy's 26 versus 23. If you get 10 years out of the guy, he's only 36 years old.
Right, but my problem is, here's my problem. The Saints are supposed to be one of the worst teams in the league, and...
yes.
Okay? And if they are, they're going to draft a quarterback.
Yes.
So...
I understand what you're saying.
He's done.
Yes.
He's done. He might be out of the league.
They never should have drafted Tyler Shough. They shouldn't. If you were going to take a shot, I would have taken a shot on Shedeur over Tyler.
I'm serious. Because if you draft a younger player, there's more runway there.
Right. But I'll just say this about the age, because they bash Bo Nix about the same thing. He's an older quarterback. I actually think an older quarterback, 26, 27, can understand and handle the pressure as opposed to more a kid 21, 22 years old. I'm just saying.
No,
and if you get 10 years out of the guy, he's only 37. We're giving $80 million a year or over 2 years to players like Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. What's wrong with a guy that's been in your organization? I'm just saying the age isn't as much of a factor as his performance in college.
But this is my only thing. I know I'm like harping on this a little bit now, but Bo Nix is younger than Tyler Shough.
I understand.
And Bo Nix got crashed on for his age. That's crazy. Quickly, something or nothing. Ashton Genty's performance, if you can even call it that. Ashton Genty with three carries for -1 yards.
I don't put a lot of weight into that. It's going to come down to the offensive line and whether they can, win at the point of attack. I did tweet out, though, Offensive Rookie of the Year, right, when he did that. I did. I piled on.
I am not as in on Genty in that market as everyone else.
Oh, I don't think he's – I wouldn't bet him for Offensive Rookie of the Year, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, no. Same. Listen, the only other guy near the top that we have to make sure we bring up is Travis Hunter. He did play a little of both ways. I think it's – again, the biggest thing to me is they're going to give him the opportunity, Joe, to do both in his rookie season.
Absolutely, and I think that's the right thing. I mean, more on the offensive side than the defensive side of the ball in critical situations. He'll be in there.
It's going to be a fun season in Jacksonville. We'll talk a little Burrow, Fields, Kyler next.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of thoughts.
18.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Did you know know? Sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups. My tip? Try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
Pro football today, Joe Lisi, Kevin Walsh, and Joe, you must have enjoyed Joe Burrow stepping out there and...
Gutty.
What? Gutty? Oh, I like that. Listen, you're right. In the Lions Den, the link, they were excited. They were feeling it. 2 drives for Joe Burrow. So I'll tell you this. I'll give you the little background. I bet Philly in this game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, they win, they cover. That's great. I took the points, right? I thought Tanner McKee would be good, but I was like, listen, everyone thinks Burrow's going to go out there. It's going to be easy, light him up. They're playing because he usually starts slow. This is being blown out of proportion. So first play, they run for 5. Second play, he airmails a T. Higgins pass, and I went, oh, my gosh, this is perfect. They're going to get out of here after one drive. They ran the easiest out route to pick up the necessary first down on that third down. I went, oh, no. Just get him out of the game. Just get him out of the game. They scored touchdowns on each of their first 2 drives. One of those going to Jamar Chase, who finished with 4 catches for 77 yards. Burrow, after that incompletion, was 9 for 9 for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Did you have any big takeaway from how these two started it off?
Well, I think that's what you want to see if you're a Cincy fan. I think it's more important week 1 when they go on the road to the dog pound and they're 5.5-point road favorites. Can they step up and have that type of performance? And again, previously, outside of last year, they have struggled with Cleveland, right? I still think that's a questionable line when you see the 5.5. I would make it more 6.5, 7. Why is it only 5.5? I might be inclined to take that 5.5 week number 1. Okay. I'm just saying. But they can ill afford to start slow again. I mean, this team has the biggest bullseye on their back. Yeah. If they lose that game, I mean, they're going to hear it. Zach Taylor could be on the hot seat, right? So to get them involved in the preseason, get that quarterback to wide receiver relationship clicking early. We saw them come out of the gate last year as a 7.5-point home favorite and lose to Jacoby Brissett in New England. They can't do that this time. It's an AFC championship or bust. That's what you want to see, and that's why he's one of the front runners to lead the NFL in terms of yards and touchdowns.
Yeah, I think my takeaway actually was, and tell me if this is unfair, I was surprised at how much he leaned on Chase in the limited work. I thought he might just kind of spread it around, everybody get a little something. Like T. Higgins only had that one target, right? Like I think you would have wanted to get T the ball. And
well, maybe they don't want to show anything either. That's the other thing, too. So I think in these games.
I understand that, but I'm just thinking the Eagles didn't play starters. I'm just thinking it's easy no matter what. Don't spam Chase, right? It's almost like cheating. So it's truly my
cheat code.
I think Jamar Chase should be the favorite for Offensive Player of the Year.
I agree.
I understand it's going to be hard because he might be competing against himself. Last year's Triple Crown winner, 127 grabs, 1,700 yards, and 17 touchdowns. But in an incredible way, like, is he not really the favorite for another Triple Crown?
He is.
He kind of has to be.
As long as he's healthy, they're there. I mean, this team could put up huge numbers from an offensive
missed
perspective.
time, but he always seems to miss a couple games, right? So that helps. Not having Higgins out, that gets obviously Chase some elevated work. So that's the hesitance. But I think you can make a pretty strong case to just back Chase since he's not the favorite.
You can. I mean, you can back Chase. I think Chase is legitimate in terms of the front runner. For me, though, it comes down to Burrow. As long as Joe Burrow's healthy, they are a contender in each and every game. Now, maybe the defense doesn't step up, but they have the ability to outscore anybody on their schedule, including the Chiefs, including Buffalo and Baltimore. So that is not the concern. Stay healthy, start fast, and then the sky is the limit, really, for this team.
For another one of your guys, Justin Fields, 3 for 4, 42 yards. I think the more important thing was a 13-yard touchdown run that he had on a scramble. I've kind of been saying this. I don't know where I'll land on the Jets, win total, but they really do have an opportunity to be one of the 5 best rush attacks in football, and maybe even better than that.
I think they could be a 9-win football team. I think they're the second best team in the AFC East. And I know everybody's pumping up Vrabel and Drake May.
Yeah.
I'm sold on McDaniel and the Dolphins. I believe in this team. They're young. They're healthy defensively. They have playmakers that could step up. And again, I don't expect them to knock off the Bills. But I think they can legitimately be a 9-8, 10-7 football team. And what more can you ask for? Justin Fields, in my opinion, is a winner. Bottom line, run it, throw it. He'll find a way to get it done. It's similar, and I have to watch my choice of words. It's similar to the knock on Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts wasn't a quarterback, but all he did was win games. Right? He won games in Alabama. He did it with his legs. I'm putting you on the spot. Is he as polished as a pocket passer as Jalen Hurts? No, but he wins games, Kev. And that's all that matters. He was 4-2 last year. 4-2.
Joe.
They had a better shot of winning a playoff game with Justin Fields than Russell Wilson at the end of the year. I said it.
His career record is 14-30. What in the world are you talking about?
He was playing with Eberflus in Chicago.
No, but you can't be
No, you can't. Come on.
So here's what you're doing.
Come on.
So here's what you're doing.
Eberflus is
Justin
a terrible
Fields'
coach.
NFL career hasn't happened, and you're treating him like the kid coming out of Ohio State. Is that because you can't go, kid's a winner,
but we
14-30.
Okay,
That's crazy.
But we do the same thing with AR. You just did
No,
it with
I
AR.
don't. I didn't
played
say he's a winner. That'd be nuts.
But he is a winner.
No, it would be like me saying Anthony Richardson's the healthiest quarterback in football.
So wait a second. Justin Fields led Pittsburgh to a 4-2 overall record and lost his job. But Russell Wilson, that didn't elevate that team.
Yeah,
didn't elevate them in any capacity.
If you want to tell me that Fields, at this point in his career,
Yes, that's
is
what I'm
as
saying.
good as Russell Wilson at this point in his career, that's fine. That doesn't make Justin Fields a winner and have you utter the name of the Super Bowl MVP. Super Bowl MVP!
Okay. Yes.
In the Super Bowl!
I said it's similar to
The MVP!
He wasn't the MVP his first year coming out of college, was he? He heard knocks.
Oh, so Fields just got drafted.
No, but
That's exciting.
Look, I said it to you.
That's
I
exciting.
said it to you all offseason. Aaron Glenn and this staff will devise a game plan to Justin Fields' strengths, something Pittsburgh and something Chicago didn't do in his previous stints. You're going to see the best version of Justin Fields, and if he doesn't step up, I'll be the first one to admit it. I just think the upside is there.
I don't think
people.
you will be the first one to admit it, because it turns out you haven't admitted anything that's happened through his
They're going
first
to be a
50
9-win
games.
football team. They're going to be the second best team in the AFC East. I said it, and we'll see where it's at.
He's only a couple months older
And you
than
know
Tyler
how I
Shuck.
feel about Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts.
No.
Oh, you love Jalen Hurts. You love.
No, don't you start now.
You love Jalen
Fields and
Hurts.
Hurts, hard to tell them apart, according to Lisi Joe. We'll be right back on SportsGrid.
We all know nothing beats the energy of playing live roulette in a casino. But playing roulette online sure does have its perks. At the casino, you'll average 40 to 50 spins per hour. But online, you're looking at 100 to 150. The more spins, the more chance of wins. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
You know, at a 30 teams game, only 10 have a winning record against left-handed pitchers. 10-19, and there's one team that's 12-12.
See, I
think it's the Yankees.
Yeah. See, I didn't know the exact number, Scott, but I would have, I knew where you were going with this. In which there's just not as many left-handed hitters. They're not as good against them.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid. This is the moment every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters.
right, we're back with you right here on SportsGrid, and we got to take a look at some of these Week 2 preseason games. No other place to start than with the Browns action. The numbers are out for these preseason games, which is delightful, and Cleveland is going to be positioned as an underdog. We do not know who, basically other than Shedeur Sanders, will play for Cleveland. Do you have any expectations? Is there anything you want to see from the Browns in this game?
Again, Shedeur, if he gets that opportunity, can he progress after last performance? Can he play clean football? Can he lead the Browns on touchdown drives or scoring drives? That would be beneficial. I mean, when you look at the total 39.5, I would lean to the over because of how McKee and some of the backups played and knowing from a defensive perspective what they gave up against Cincinnati. So I think the 39.5 potentially could go through the total, and I would lay it with the Eagles.
Quickly, all the preseason games, I mean, almost all of them, just flying over. What do you make anything of that?
I think it's good. I mean, we know traditionally it used to be an under bet, but now we're starting to see younger players get the opportunity to open the playbook. Yeah. That's the one thing is that, you know, I never understood when the backups got in why you wanted to play a vanilla type of game plan, especially when you have to rely on these quarterbacks and skilled position talent to step up potentially, not just in the regular season, but in a playoff environment. Give them an opportunity to showcase what they can do when the game is on the line in a regular type of environment, open it up, and that's what we're seeing right now.
The way some of these games are flying, though, like I played the under in the Giants-Bills game. I was like, there's good quarterbacks, but it could start slow, and it was 3-0 at the end of the first quarter. I was like, man, I think I got something here. That game ended with 59 points. I was like, hold on it.
Right?
It's fine.
Doesn't go that high.
Yeah, I don't think it does. So it's been interesting to follow. Speaking of the Giants, they're going to play the Jets this week. I think there's going to be a continued eye on Jackson Dart because of how good he was in week number 1. I think the same thing is true of Justin Fields, though. And I think Aaron Glenn feels like one of those guys who wants to win I think when he says, hey, we want to win every game we play, I think he means it. Yeah. I think Aaron Glenn is looking to go unbeaten in the preseason.
You want a culture. That's the biggest thing. And he's completely different from Robert Saleh that we saw last year, right? I mean, very unmotivating, just, death stare on the sidelines, and you don't know what you're going to get. Aaron Glenn will light a fire under his team. He's coaching on the sidelines. He's motivating the young talent. We just saw Justin Fields step up at Adrian Martinez, getting another life in the NFL. He stepped up with a dominating performance. Can he duplicate that against the New York Giants? And again, when you have both teams live and reside in the area, there is somewhat of a rivalry, not for the starters, but the second and third teamers to make some noise and potentially make a roster. So we'll see. I lean to the Jets early on in that matchup, though.
Saints-Jags will bring us the New Orleans QB competition and then another look, but we would assume at Travis Hunter. I wanted to just make this point earlier when we were talking Travis, and I wonder if you agree with this. People have wondered, hey, could he win Offensive Rookie of the Year and Defensive Rookie of the Year? I don't think he wins either. Now, if this was the NBA and there was one Rookie of the Year, right? Just one. I know that's not how the awards work, but if there was, I think he'd be the favorite. I think because it's like the Heisman. It's like, whoa, no one's doing what he does. But since it's divided, I think it works against him pretty cleanly. I don't see him winning either one.
No, me neither, but forget awards. His job offensively is to take away double teams from Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah. His number's 900 or 700. I know Thomas is right over 1,000 for his numbers, but if he could get to 900, 950, Travis Hunter, he has a legitimate shot, and this team has a legitimate shot to win the division and challenge for an AFC championship down the road. Cam Little, by the way, 70-yard field goal. Unbelievable.
Oh, that was something.
That was crazy.
Apparently, that pushed the first half over for people who were in on that, too. Could you imagine?
Nailed that. How about Liam Cohen rolling the dice? Liam, 5 wide.
Might as well open it up. I think the Travis stuff's going to be a ton of fun to watch. I would say I think he has a much better chance to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year than the Defensive Rookie of the Year of the two, but I think it's going to be really hard to do. I also just think Bears-Bills is one to keep your eye on. Do we see Caleb Williams? Because there's been a couple of guys whose camp haven't been the cleanest. And Caleb, I think, fits that description. Does Ben Johnson roll Caleb Williams out there?
I would roll him out for a series or two, especially if he's struggling with the offensive scheme to get him game reps and game speed, I think is critical for this team right now.
It's going to be interesting to watch. We'll also, of course, have our eye on all of this. Do we get any more updates on that Indianapolis job? Does Garoppolo make a preseason appearance for L.A.? All things that we will be tracking. It's Pro Football Today. Joe Lisi, Kevin Walsh. We'll see you next time.
Vegas knows how to celebrate. If you're headed to Vegas for your birthday, plan ahead to get all the birthday freebies the city has to offer. Just by showing your ID, you could get free cash play, scratch cards, drinks, and food at various venues on the Strip. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
We don't care where you were drafted. You outperform somebody, you're going to be on that football field. Now, again, there are extenuating circumstances where you draft a quarterback number 3 overall. Yeah, they're going to try him out for the next 3 to 4 years, even if he's not as good as anybody on that roster. But from Shedeur's perspective, that's probably the case. Tyler Huntley, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson. There's a lot of names on that list, not a lot of good names on that list, so he can earn a job on this football team.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Joey Ohtani's only seen him 7 times, 7 at-bats. He's got a home run against him. I've been pretty good at jumping in and out with Ohtani. I don't take him to hit a home run every day. The odds are good enough tonight, Scott, at plus 230 to entice me. I've got a bet on Ohtani's season home run prop at 43.5, which, he's nearly there.
In-game live, only on SportsGrid.
Jalen Lane, 4th-round receiver from Virginia Tech, who's a dynamic slot receiver. Run after the catch. He's had a phenomenal camp. Really great offseason. He is really gifted. And obviously with McLaurin not practicing, he's getting a lot more of a look. Right. Now, the problem is, without McLaurin, they're not very deep at the outside receiver position. But Jalen Lane is a stud talent. I'm telling you, this kid should have gone higher.
Newswire. Only